Good morning, British Business Podcast viewers and listeners out there. I'm delighted to welcome Mairead from Cavendish Home Care. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Welcome.
A real warm Mayfair welcome to you. And I'd like to start off today by just asking a little bit about you and what you do and your business, please.
Okay, I'm Mairead Liston and I'm the registered nurse manager for Cavendish Home Care. And we're a family-run business and of 12 years. We are registered under the CQC. Our main work is with the private sector, with private patients. We provide nurses and carers and right across probably London, Southeast, and also at this time we are getting more calls for across the country or even for people to travel with clients. Our main feeling is that more people prefers to be cared for in their own homes. They are going to hospitals, clinics for their treatments, or sometimes they have to have, various investigations. So people are a little bit more nervous about going into hospitals. So I think they're making, the arrangements that they have got backup service. So this is one of the key parts of our business at the moment. And but we genuinely feel that the best place for anybody who isn't so well and they don't need the high clinical needs, that they can be well cared for, feel comfortable and also be surrounded by family. So in the general main, we support many areas that need to get their patients home from hospitals. That can be from the NHS, from private clinics, or even from visiting doctors or other healthcare professionals that needs to call on a service.
How did you get into it?
Well, I am a nurse and was a midwife. So in the 80s, I went to work within a nursing agency in Marylebone, and after 3 to 4 years, I got the opportunity to buy the agency, and at that time it was solely independent, but we developed into the NHS, and there was a great need in particular in the 90s. So we were a supplier of London, Manchester, Derby and Birmingham. As we dealt with contracts, we still aimed to work with our independent sector. But I did feel that if you plan to grow your business, you had to have a more corporate image. So when it came to the sort of 2006-07, I felt that I wasn't actually able to give the tailor-made service that I wanted to do. So that was the time when I made the change and then rebranded into Cavendish Home Care. And from there, I solely deal with the independent sector. I don't actually supply nurses or carers to hospitals or clinics, but I provide our services to get them home from hospitals or give advice around that. And that's where we are today, really. We're working with that. We work with many multidisciplinary teams. We do a lot of post-operative cases, people who want to get out after they have their operations, in particular palliative care and possibly end of life. We do a lot of work around dementia and equally with other conditions, especially neuro conditions, where there is often the long-term care. I had a lot of experience with children, so we did a lot of pediatric work in the past, especially in the 80s and the 90s. But I had then left that for a while because there's a lot of complexity. But in the more recent years, in particular the last 5 years, I'm much more involved in complex children's care, which does really need, it's challenging. But I do feel that we can provide a really good, safe service there. So that would be what I would do on the side of normal general work, and we do also work with mental health care.
Wow.
But, you really have to have the right persons to suit this type of work. So I would say that we are selective in our recruitment, and that is the key to giving the best service we can, both nurses and carers.
So your team that you build is critical for the care that you give.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't just bring anyone in.
We get many inquiries from the recruitment side for people that want to come and work with us. But we have to explain to them, and they're generally persons are interviewed, if you like, once to twice, because we often have to go through the paperwork, vet them, and also ensure that they've got the skills to deliver on our type of care. Plus, persons who may not have experience working in the community, it does take a little bit more time to acclimatise. They may have done it in their training or other work experience, but when it comes to our type of client, where there's demands, where they have to work possibly autonomously or part of a team, it's very, very important that they understand what's needed. And because that's our reputation is built on that,
Sure.
They are our ambassadors.
Wow.
Really.
And a reputation can go in seconds.
Yes.
How many people do you help and look after?
In the community area, most probably in any one day we could look after maybe 50, 60, regulars. Those persons would have, a lot of those would have day and night care, the nursing or carers. They all would actually need, have special needs really in what they're about. If you've got a dementia case, it may be, a lady or a gentleman who has restless, who has night issues. The family it's out of the hands of the family.
Sure.
The family may have to make decisions, of course, to get another care facility if it's not manageable in the home, but we probably make it more manageable, and it gives the families and relatives of whatever kind to make that decision, what is the best. Our people are very good to report to various doctors, healthcare professionals, or district nurses, or other therapists that would be around the person. So we've got a very good reporting system, and I've got a number of nurse managers who actually works with each case. On steady work, we will get work coming in on a regular, constant basis, inquiries. We don't take on everything, because if we haven't got the capable people to do that, so we're very careful at selecting. But at the same time, we spend a good bit of time advising persons on the phone, because often they don't know
Sure.
where they're going. There is a costing, of course. And depending on the needs or the location and who we've got available, and then we have to normally give them a quote, and then they will have to obviously go away, think about that themselves and see if that fits in their budget. Or it might be a short-term care. We do
Sure.
that, like in particular end of life, where somebody wants to come from hospital, they want to take their mother or their partner or whatever home. Can we do it? Yes, we can. We have nurses who circulate, are quite mobile, and they will go in and do day and night shifts on a regular basis. So it's a great comfort to families, and often that can be a number of days, a number of nights, and it is all manageable. Yeah.
And I was reading this morning on your website that the Care Quality Commission, CQC, or the regulator for this type of care, they marked you as outstanding for care. And I'm guessing that's not easy to achieve that, especially knowing some people in the industry.
Yes.
To receive that mark Can you explain a little bit about that and just what it takes to get to that level? Because that is that is really something, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes, I guess from what the CQC lays down, getting this in care is the most important because that gives people the reassurance that there is somebody in the front line that they can trust. And I think one of the things we probably do get the comment about is that we respond, quite quickly, and we are very upfront with our people. And if we can help, that person is selected for their needs. And if we feel that we're safe that way and our candidate is safe, it makes a massive difference. And caring, they can multi-skill normally across, and they will escalate if there's anything that they couldn't manage well or they were concerned. So knowing that for families, that to me is very, very important in managing. So it comes back to the care that we give. Plus, the candidates are very well supported in our field because that's how we want them to feel when they're in the environment. They're not on their own. We've got a 24-hour service, and there's always a nurse manager at hand if they need support. And that's really how it works. Really, safety as well.
That's amazing, and that outstanding mark is a testament to you running the business and being the leader, but also to your team that you've built. Can we talk a little bit about how difficult it's been over the past, and I'm going to prompt you now for 2 years, 5 years, when did it start becoming more difficult to recruit, to retain, and to engage team members?
Well, I think, yes, recruitment has really always had its challenges, especially in healthcare. And I've been through that. I've been through that very much as well in the past through hospitals and clinics and a nursing home, and to have the right and proper people. I suspect that with us, we are a bit more tailored to the needs and the care of our client. So it does make it a little bit more attractive for persons to come and work for us. But often they need to know more about how we do it. My key is that when somebody comes to work, they're interested in working with us, I find out more about them, where they sit with themselves. I do like to know if they're in other jobs, if they're trying to have this work as a separate piece to their own, jobs or whatever. So we actually do give them a lot of time to work out where they fit with our work. If I could say our recruitment is still, we're quite successful. We aim to look after the person. That's whether it's a nurse or a carer, and they become part of our team, and they are really well supported. So if we've got the right jobs for them, they are inclined to stay with us as a company. Over pandemic, of course, it was a bit different because there was a lot of restrictions. It was completely new to us, although the word work from home wasn't that unfamiliar, because originally a lot of nursing agencies, that's how they started, as family-run businesses. But it did put us into a bit of shock treatment, but we were able to manage our cases. We had to work very safely with we'll say infection control, but we were inundated actually with people making inquiries, but that was the COVID scare. We spent hours on end giving out advice that most probably might not have been helpful, but could have been. But we all learned massively from managing to care for the vulnerable, and our workers were vulnerable also, and they needed that support, and there were panic. and they needed finance. Really, like we weren't in a furlough situation or anything, so we kept our clients very, very safe, and we also had to protect our nurses and carers, who there was a lot of controversial, about vaccinations, etc. So it was a big story, yes.
And was it probably the most difficult thing that you've ever been through in business?
Oh yeah, it would be, when you look at the field that we were in. But I also think that it grounded a lot of people to look after the most important situations, which were our clients and our people and ourselves within it, because there wasn't much opportunity to do anything different. You couldn't really develop on recruiting people in, etc. I will say that I had over it, I probably had a lot of recommendations of workers to come on board. So we managed that in a different way, but it was still an interesting piece of work. But I guess if I was in my older company that I sold, we wouldn't have been able to do that, because you were serving the hospitals, etc. But as we weren't actually putting people into the hospital environments, apart from going to collect a patient and take them home, we were in a little bit of a different environment. And it wasn't the time when nurses or carers could actually move out of their hospital environment, because everybody was needed to work and serve that. So now I think a lot more nurses and carers are making more decisions about where they want to work, how they want to work, and and what's good for them.
So it's becoming much more of a lifestyle type of decision, rather than this is just a job. What you're saying, it's a vocation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's all, you have to have it all in one, really.
All in one.
Yeah. I do think that the healthcare, especially frontline workers, have had some very, very tough times. I admire what how they've carried that out. There was a lot of pain, I guess, and sickness and illness with people, but at the same time, because they were part of their work field, they did do well. But I do find in my current recruitment situation that I'm meeting a lot more people who are making lifetime style changes and also work balances. And would be fearful, I guess, if something like this happened again. So that's really where it sort of stands.
How do you deal with that? How do you, as a leader, you have many things to take into consideration. Of course, we need our teams to deliver the work that we have to prepare, but also from their point of view, they need as you've just said, a work-life balance. That's got to be difficult.
It can be. I think the worker needs to feel that you're going to lead it well, if you like, in that, because they are really very, very important. We can put ourselves up to do everything and sundry, but if you haven't got that person that you believe in, they believe in you, and they can go out and do a good job, that is really a very, very important part of our business, is the worker, and I do believe that if they trust us and we are actually doing the right things for them, and it's massive support. It's it's from where they are, where they live, even to their clients, but the financial side, it's their general well-being. Bringing that on track. There's just so much to be supported in there, and but we can do that. We can do all that, and that does build into the quality of what we're about. And I think it enhances as well, where the worker can feel that they can progress really with our work and feel comfortable with it. and they're also allowed to come and talk to us if they want to change a career. They can take advice from us,
Okay.
you know. And plus we've got some ongoing education and development in the healthcare market. So, you know, I highly recommend that. Nearly every day I give advice to somebody, you know, to do it different or, you know, what they can do for themselves.
Sure.
Yes.
Because you've been in business for a long time. How many years?
Oh, it's, well, I mean, in this line of business, it's 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you do before then?
No, I trained as a registered general nurse and then as a midwife, and then I did work in a coronary care unit.
Oh.
And I'm not really sure. I didn't go out to select to go into the game. It just sort of fell in front of me, and somebody thought. Somebody an Irish nurse who had come back from the States, she was working with the agency and she thought, oh, you could be good for that. And I thought, oh, I had a big interest to do pediatrics, but anyway, I did say, well, I can try it out. And that's where it went, you know, so that's, that was in the early 80s. And it really, the company did start growing then, but I think that was when there was more change to do with what agencies were about, where the health service managed. They started buying into nursing agencies. So that's really where people who did supply private nurses or to the independent market, they started, you know, getting more nurses who wanted to work within the hospital environments. So I think that's where we led on to so many now, the trust hospitals relying on agency. Of course, agency nurses are the banner up there, but actually the hospitals, that's both private and NHS, are supplied by agencies from all fields of healthcare. So, but it's only the nursing you hear about.
Okay.
But because I think probably they have more stats on that.
Okay.
You know, whether it's a good thing or not. But I had experience across the country on where the needs are, and that in particular up to 2006 and 2007, and I don't see any change in it on if they are moving forward. A lot of bank systems are there, but I'm sure some of it is all very workable and manageable, but there's still a crisis going on. And recruitment in general is not great, but I think they are making some inroads now to get more people on board. But it's going to take a few years for that.
What's your biggest challenge right now?
Well, in our case, we would be, I feel that there's bigger demand coming on us to be a supplier for the needs of people in the community. We would not be able to be a supplier for everything. So we do still have to select. I mean, in any one day we could get 2 or 3 inquiries for visits, etc. That could be across London, or it could be in Essex or surrounding counties. But we couldn't do that sort of thing. So we often have to advise that inquiry client to go and look for localized services, because everybody wants some help in the home for their relative. But we wouldn't be good at just doing that one-off visiting service. We're very much a provider of day shifts, night shifts, live-in, in the right, having the right caliber of person to deliver to that client. But there's a lot of demand right across the country. So I do feel that from the pandemic, or the outcome from the pandemic was that it probably damaged a lot of localized businesses who would have come up against problems with COVID at the time. So I think there's a need now to, restart on that. And I suppose the social care market, community services, whatever, they all have to look at how this can be manageable going forward.
Wow.
Because it's a big one.
How do you keep your drive? How does that?
Well, it's about a passion, really. It's the way it is, really. It's to me, it's if you're working with persons who have got needs and you understand them and you want to give them a good service, it's the way it is, and you bring people along with that. Because not everybody who comes in particular, I'm talking about a team around me and the managers, and also the all the other staff that's around us. You just invest time and energy with them and make them really enthused. And some of them want to stay with you for some time, some want to move on, but you always try to make sure that there's a future for that person that's with you. And no, it's good to have energy and the passion for the job.
There's an amazing way that I personally look at a leader or a business owner or a controller. Mm-hmm. I can instantly tell how much they are passionate about the business, and it's just from the smile. Every time you talk about your team, you smile. It's ear to ear.
Yeah, they're great, and we get new people, and people move on, and but you respect them, and you give them as much support, and you do hope that they have got a good future, and even there's persons who retire from your environment or whatever. So it is all about investing time with them, and maybe not always money. I guess everybody can earn more money, but to us, you build a big friendship group around it. And I think with care, that's probably why a lot of people stay in it, because they are good with it, they can deliver, and they feel comfortable with the field, So, and I do believe that there's just wonderful and great people out there delivering care, whatever it is. And, with the media, it is a problem, but, things have to be highlighted. And it's all about improving, future planning, really.
Planning, you mentioned something there that I know that a lot of listeners and viewers out there would be interested to hear. Your planning, does it start off at sort of a day planning, and then a week, and then a month, and then a year? And is there a 5-year plan? Is there a bigger picture than that? How do you plan?
Well, I guess in healthcare, with what we do, it's also about having knowledge really on what's happening in the market. But that can waver quite a lot. We probably look at putting teams together who are kind of ready, or we can be able to mobilize them when we do get a particular type of work. So there has to be, in order to keep clients and look after them properly, you do spend quite a bit of time, what I would say weekly, making plans on your recruitment and getting the suitable workers or candidates that's going to fit that. You can't, you in business, you have to have a plan going forward, but in daily living stuff, it can change very, very rapidly, really. And again, just going back to COVID and lockdown and that, we did see that we were able to deliver well as long as we stuck to the guidelines, our guidelines, not often everything that was predicted, sure. But that really did keep people safe, and you adhered to that. Your workers engaged in that, if you like, and that did give us a lot more confidence and that feeling of, we're doing something right.
Wow, clearly you are. Is there a big drive by you to expand, or do you think that actually that's part of planning, but actually we grow as we grow when we get that opportunity to grow, rather than I want to grow by 100 clients or patients in this next year or 6 months, or is that how it works?
I think, it's about not expanding. We all can expand, but we have to look at what we're delivering. And if we want to keep quality within what we're doing, we'd much prefer to just do it as it's happening. We will. Like when you ask me about numbers, we can have a lot more clients, but they might be short-lived. So we have a sort of a rolling, maybe you've got a client this week, but he will come back next week or in a month's time. So we have a lot of that type of care. So we always have people semi on standby for that. But we would prefer to stay with quality service where it's needed, assess it, and then, get the package right, or whether it's short-term or ongoing. So it is about very much how it's happening at the minute.
So the word there that I heard more than anything was quality.
Yeah.
Making sure the value that you're adding or giving
we need that. That is our priority. With again going back to a safe way to deliver. We would be, I suppose, effective in how to say it. You mentioned about the caring side. We definitely respond quickly, no matter, even if we get an inquiry. I will say, most people will say, "Oh, I wasn't expecting a call back that quick," but we like to, clear it, because it can waste a lot more time. And I know our managers, we try to lead it from the front and, deal with issues as they happen, because the things do happen in any 24 hours. Yes.
The care industry, from an outsider, seems incredibly complicated, incredibly complex, and all the things that you have to deal with. Does it sometimes get you down? Does it sometimes give you challenges that you think, I wish I was doing something else? Because to me, you live in, eating, breathing care, and you can see by your smile you love it.
Well,
are there days when you get challenged?
Sorry.
Are there days when you get challenges?
Oh yes, I mean, and it's full of challenges, but that's part, I think, of why we stay at it, because mostly you will get solutions to that, and it's not a good feeling if you haven't got a good outcome. So we do stick with it while there's a need, if we can resolve it, but. No, I didn't. I've never felt any way damaged about around the caring market. No, because I think we look at, if we are asked to care for a vulnerable, whatever, even if it's your relative, and you're not there because you could be traveling and whatever, you must feel that you've put your parent or your partner or your child in the hands of people who are going to be safe, and that's up to us to do it. But if we're doing it in the right way, we don't have that worry. We're there mainly to support our worker, because it's them usually who will escalate, if they're not comfortable, something has changed in the environment, or maybe, the patient has clinically changed. So there's a lot of balances there. But,
I'm a person who knows firsthand what it's like. My father had dementia and Alzheimer's, and it was only through people like yourself who helped me and my family. We hadn't got a clue how to deal with it, and so that reaching out from someone like me to someone like you is so reassuring, that you're strong, you're caring, you're knowledgeable, you're an expert in what you do. I think you underplay, or you certainly don't boast about it, but from a person who's had to go through that, it's massively reassuring. And we all, on behalf of lots of people,
well,
thank you.
You're right. Meaning it's not understood so well. I do think there is more in it, more about escalating the need for people to understand about the dementia, Alzheimer's, and often it's hitting the younger persons as well. I think every day, even in our field of work, we're learning about it, and it is really very, very important to work with care workers mostly and nurses to actually make sure that that family and their loved one, is getting what I would say an understanding on how to manage things, because the stress of it, and it often can be sudden or it can be gradual, but nobody told us, it was ignored. It's so really important. It changes everything, I think, and we must keep talking about it, really, because it's nearly like finance. We say our children should be educated in it from this level of school. I think when it comes to our whole lives being turned upside down, because I've seen it even with the younger child, how families are, the whole thing changes. And so the sickness and managing it is a big thing. Yeah.
We're close to the end of our podcast. Is there anything else that you wanted to say today, but because we've gone on certain journeys around what you wanted to talk about, is there anything else that we've missed? Do you want to talk about another subject? Is there something that you'd like? Cavendish, I'm sure there are people out there that would like to get in contact with you and the business about their loved ones. How would they get in contact with you? Is the website?
Yeah, well, they can tap into our website. Of course, it's quite a lot of information there.
Is that www.cavendishhomecare?
Homecare.com. Yeah. And there is an email there. Every single day, 7 days of the week, somebody will respond to any inquiry.
Excellent.
Info. And we have a 24-hour service. There's always a nurse manager around to pick up on a call, because we might have people who answer the phones, but if there's the clinical needs, we like to talk about it more. We're always available and discuss matters, and even if we're not able to help them, we'll give them whatever advice we can. And yes, we're mainly, we have nurses on standby, and we can nearly always give assistance even at short notice.
And can you say your full name for our listeners?
Mairead Liston. Yeah.
The owner of Cavendish.
Yeah, and I'm the registered nurse manager. So I am hands-on, and I would always, if somebody refers someone to us or whatever, or they need a call back, not a problem.
Fantastic. Well, another amazing insight into amazing business, one that's close to my heart. And until next time.